and welcome back to the Dukascopy studios here in Geneva. One of the topics that we will be discussing today is how to rebuild banks in the 21st century. And joining me to discuss is Alex Inchbald, artist and creative director. So Alex, welcome back.
Thanks, Jessica. Great to be here. Wonderful to be back in the studio.
And it is great to have you back. So tell us, what have you been up to since your last visit in Dukascopy TV?
I'm in the process of setting up with a series of world-class partners a new organisation called Creative Leadership Partners to address some of these issues.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. So tell us a bit more about this organisation.
Thank you. So we're a growing network of thought leaders who share a belief that to tackle the world's biggest problems and to create sustainable customer value requires more creativity. In fact, we believe that the issues that organizations face are a fractal of the bigger issue that humanity faces. Things like climate change, which is what Paul Polman is tackling with Unilever. We are a group of experts, change managers, change directors, big thinkers, artists like myself, who've come together to tackle some of these big challenges. And if you look at what's happening in banks at the moment and organizations all over the world, you see an increase in regulation, you see an increase in information, 90% of the world's information created in the last 2 years, and you also see an increase in disruptive technology, which is changing the very nature and the very fabric of those organizations. So what do you do about it? Well, we believe that the secret is not to continue to push on the strategy on the lever of strategy, but is to invert the traditional model. Why? Because more and more people are feeling disengaged. Only 13% of people, according to a recent Gallup survey, are engaged and feel engaged by organizations today. So what do? We invert the traditional model. We release the creativity by elevating skills, changing the culture, and instilling belief. And what we're ultimately up to is releasing the world's creativity.
Well, that sounds really fantastic. So, Alex, tell me, how is the business going?
So it's early days, and we're literally just launching at the moment, but we're already working with a couple of leading retail banks in the UK, which we're pretty excited about. And I'm not a banker, as you know, I'm an artist, but I'm a creative thinker, and I apply that creativity to businesses. So let me give you my take on how that works. You know, a bank, essentially at its heart, it is about a payment, and it's about making sure that a payment from a customer is made securely. That payment we call a transaction. And around that transaction, there are various pieces of information. The information about the beneficiary, but also information that is increasingly being put in place in terms of regulation. So there is more information. And if you take a bank of about 30 million customers with, let's say, 70 million accounts, what that means is there are 500 million transactions going on in a single day. And they are coming from more channels, mobile phones, the internet, ATMs, but they're going through the same systems, the CHAP system, the BAC system. And some of these systems are quite antiquated and quite old, 30 to 40 or maybe 50 years old. And that's putting enormous pressure on banks. So at the same time as they're trying to tackle these legacy issues in terms of culture and in terms of systems, they are also trying to tackle the regulation which is being imposed upon them. And at the same time, you've got shareholders expecting increased growth and customers who are expecting more added value. That's putting enormous pressure on banks. So what we're seeing time and time again is that smart competitors are eating their lunch, quite literally. So I'm thinking of the WorldPays of this world, the Apple Pays of this world, the PayPals of this world, who are taking the main business or some of the business just around the edges. And what is the bank's response? Well, because they're so focused on the legacy issues and the regulation, what they're coming up with is more of an incremental innovation rather than breakthrough ideas. So you see a new mobile website or a new website, when actually what customers are really looking for is breakthrough ideas.
Absolutely. So in your company, what are you doing for them?
So what we're doing is we're trying to address that issue. And let me share with you a little bit of what we're up to. I can't tell you everything, Jessica, because that would be letting you into the secrets. But what we're doing is we're taking the existing model and we're flipping it on its head. Rather than seeing those four costs that I just mentioned, legacy issues, regulation, growth, and value as a cost, we're looking at it through the eyes of the customer. And by doing that, we're seeing it from an entirely different perspective. Rather than it be a cost, it be an investment in the customer. So what we're doing is we're developing a sequential roadmap where we go through a series of phases and we make sure that at each step of that process, that the value that we add is in the eyes of the customer, so that we're creating sustainable customer value for the customer. And we do that by building brilliance in the teams that we work with.
And does the solution only work for banks?
Well, in fact, we've been working with a number of organizations and piloting this methodology and these principles in the education sector, with NGOs, in the health sector. And we believe, in fact, it works with pretty much every organization that was created more than 15 years ago. And we've got some pretty big expansion plans, which we're going to be announcing in the next few weeks, working with partners to really ramp this up and take this to as many organizations as possible.
Well, Alex, it sounds like an extremely exciting time for you, so thank you so much for coming in today.
My pleasure, Jessica. Great to be here again.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. For all the latest Dukascopy updates and exclusive interviews, do keep clicking back. Goodbye for now.